Yo, yo, what's up? What's up? It's the one and only hip hop gamer, Hot 97, Logitech G, NBA 2K League, Def Jam Records. It's going down, baby. Now, look, man, this is not just a regular, interview. You know what I'm saying? This is like a brotherhood right here. For y'all that don't know, man, 2008 was my first E3. Shout out to Torrance Davis, you know what I'm saying, for getting me there. And my first E3, I got a chance to bump into the one and only Michael Pachter that you see right now. And this is one of the first guys in the industry that ever embraced me, showed me love, and never made me feel like I didn't belong because I didn't talk or look like the majority of everybody else there. You understand what I'm saying? Michael for life. I love you, bro. This is a long time coming. We haven't did an interview in a long time. And I'm just honored to have you on, man. So first off, how you feeling? And I love you, bro. What's good? How's the fam? Talk to me.
It is my honor to be here, and I love you as well. And I've always loved you. You're like one of the good people.
Oh, thanks,
So
man.
of course, I would embrace you. You're a good man.
Thanks, man.
Although
I appreciate it.
you're probably like 11 back in 2008, but you might not have been a man then. But you're definitely a man now.
Oh man, yo, it's just so crazy to see that we're in
You're
2020
definitely a
and I've
man
known
now.
you this long.
Oh
Like, you know what I'm
man,
saying?
yeah.
Like it's been a long time, man.
You're definitely a
What's so funny, what a lot of people may not know is that in 2008, that was my first year going to E3, but it was also the first year where E3 was scaled back. And remember, they was trying to go more, I guess, extra corporate type of route. Big
That's weird.
booths or nothing. Like they got rid of a lot of stuff, even though that was my first year. So even my first E3 wasn't the traditional like E3 that other people was used to, but that allowed me to talk to a lot more people, such as
It was
yourself.
that I hated that show, but I do remember that. Actually, you missed the ones before that were in Santa Monica, and they were even worse. I mean, it was
Oh
like
wow,
really small, yeah, really really bad. So it got they went back to normal. And then of course we have none this year, and now poor Jeff Keighley's trying to kill it. He's trying to do his Summer Games Festival and replace
yeah.
it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I got that email today. So shout out to Jeff trying to do the summer games thing. And it's not just them too. I know I believe IGN is trying to do some stuff as well. A lot of people trying to do a lot of digital things, and that's just the state that we're in, man. So like before we get into all the questions and everything that the fans want to know, I gotta ask you, personally, man. You've seen, so much change and so much growth, in the industry as well. What's something personal, like to you, within gaming culture overall that you feel helped you, like in your day to day life. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's enjoyment or relationships, but what about gaming culture?
Gosh. I'd say probably the biggest change in the industry and the most impact on me is the evolution of multiplayer. And,
Mm,
back in when I started playing games, I mean, my first games were arcade games. I played like literally put a quarter on top of the
yeah,
arcade machine and waited for my turn. And, then my first real console games were all Nintendo single player and Sega Genesis single player, and even PlayStation always single player.
yeah,
And so to me, gaming was a totally solitary experience that you would just go hide away and play by yourself and enjoy yourself and just chill. And multiplayer, I have met people through multiplayer. It started with World of Warcraft for me. It actually probably started with Counter Strike Go, but I mean, regular Counter Strike, excuse me. But I already knew those people. Like I played with friends Counter Strike, and we kind of linked together and play. But starting with World of Warcraft, and I didn't play that long, but I met people in my guild that became friends.
mm,
And now it's crazy. Now you play mobile multiplayer games
yeah,
and you make friends. So it's just the idea that we could actually connect through games. And I'm seeing it now. I'm not a player, but I see it now with Fortnite becoming a full blown social network. And people are making friends in Fortnite. And I think that's awesome. So, as tough as things are right now, where we are stuck at home,
yeah.
at least you can connect with people through games. And I was just talking to a friend who's single, and he's stuck at home by himself. And I'm, thinking,
Wow.
how do you do this? Like, I have at least three women in my life, my wife and my two daughters at home. And I can't even imagine being alone. So
Yeah.
gaming for that guy is his outlet. At least he is on Discord talking to all of his friends, all of his alliance mates, all the time. And they have something in common. It's not an imposition like it is for me to call you and just do a FaceTime call and say how you doing.
Yeah.
You got your family and shit, but when we're both playing the same game, of course
Yeah.
we're going to talk. So I think that's been the biggest change for me. And I have made lifelong friends in games. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Don, that's amazing, man. So now I want to get right into all the questions, man. First question, man. How do you how do you feel Xbox is doing in terms of getting their message out, rolling things out, obviously in comparison to the way they rolled out the Xbox One back in 2013, 2012, that time. How do you feel Phil Spencer is doing in terms of leading the charge at Xbox and as well as being competitive against the PlayStation?
You know, Let me answer that a little differently. Sony's different this time around. Jim Ryan's in charge, and he wasn't in charge for any of the last several launches. It really might be different. The competitive landscape might be different this time. I think that Sony and Microsoft this cycle have flipped positions. Microsoft launched with the Xbox One. It was just too expensive, and it had Kinect in it. None of us wanted it, and it had tough digital rights management, and everybody got pissed.
Yeah.
And Sony, one day later, same morning, I guess, I'm sorry, same day. So Microsoft announced all that in the morning on a Monday, and that night, if you remember, Adam
Yeah.
Boyes handed Shu Yoshida a disc and said, "Here's our digital rights management. You can play games with your friends." And they priced it $100 cheaper, and they won. I mean, they just won. So I think Phil, who wasn't, the head of Xbox back in 2013, it was Don Matrick. I think Phil learned from that disaster, and I think that Sony under Jim Ryan is probably a smarter, better run company than it was probably under whoever was Andy House, I guess, back then.
Yeah.
It might have been Kaz Hirai. But I actually think Jim's super smart. The problem is, I think the PlayStation 5 is too ambitious and going to be too expensive. And I think that opens up an opportunity for Microsoft to just price their console $100 cheaper than Sony. So you notice neither guy's told us what their console costs yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think Microsoft's going to do that next week. Next week they're going to show games. And I think each side is waiting for the other to blink. And Sony kind of blinked. They said, we're not going to make very many PS5s because they're going to be really expensive. And we don't think demand will require us to get that many out. If Microsoft charges $100 less, if it's 400 and Sony is 500, then I think the Xbox, what's it called, Series X, is going to be all these Xbox names drive me crazy. Anyway, I think the Xbox Series X is going to sell super well. Now, the big hurdle isn't the U.S. because I think Microsoft will win the next generation in the U.S. if Sony prices $100 higher. The big problem is that PlayStation owners outside they're so loyal to their console. It's like Democrats and Republicans internationally, and so it's like if you're a Republican, 90% Trump approval rating, and it doesn't matter that Democrats it's a 10% approval rating, and that's how Sony and Microsoft work outside the U.S. So that's going to be a tough thing to overcome, and that's why Microsoft's been on a studio buying spree. I think you're going to get a lot of really interesting content announcements, coming from them. But so the answer is, I think Phil's doing a great job. I think Jim Ryan's a tougher competitor than Andy House was and Kaz Hirai before that. And so we'll see. If Microsoft announces $400 first, Sony's going to kind of have to price it at $400, and they may not be able to afford to do that, but they're going to kind of have to do it. So be interesting to see.
That is incredible insight, man. I love talking to you. The way you break things down is incredible, especially with your overall profession. So I love the insight. So now my next question is, there was always talks about like the whole teraflop discussion, right? And I had conversations with so many game developers, and they kept saying that it's not about the teraflops, it's not about this, not about that, but that is a big discussion. Um, you've seen it as well as I've seen it. The so-called most powerful system was never the one that always won. Like, you know what I'm saying? In terms of, like, if you look back on PlayStation, Sega Saturn and stuff, Sega Saturn was considered the more powerful one, but we saw what happened. You know, we've seen this play out before. PS2 dominated everything, yet it wasn't the most powerful. The OG Xbox was more powerful than that in terms of the numbers on the paper. So we know that. What I want to ask you is, what do you feel will be like the deciding factor of who can win this generation? And what I mean by that, to give you more detail, is like so far, you know, you see what Xbox is doing with, you know, backwards compatibility and stuff like that. You see what Sony is doing with their features in terms of making sure their system is extremely fast, so that, because you got to think about it, we live in a fast world. You know what I mean? Whether it be on Instagram, Twitter, everything is fast, fast, fast. Because we all got ADD. If something takes 5 seconds, we feel like it took 5 hours. So that right there plays a major role too. What do you think is like the silver lining that will that will make fans or consumers gravitate to one system? Is it still graphics and power, or is it features and, you know, just the accessibility?
Okay, so I'm going to say this as politely as I can. Consumers are stupid, and they just ridiculously stupid. And I'll give you an example, because again, it's easy to use voters. Back when Obama was president and we were coming out of the financial crisis, you know, he bailed out they call it TARP, Troubled Asset Relief Program.
Okay.
And he put out this spending package, 430 billion, something like that, and it helped the automakers, and it got people employed. And the government actually got stock in the companies, and the government actually made 15% profit on that. But the Republicans went apeshit and said, we can't print money to bail out industries and capitalism, let them die. Okay, so that was a huge, huge problem, and Republicans hated it because it was 400 and something $billion. Last week, in phase whatever it's called, 2.5 of the stimulus, we just spent 480 billion, and nobody said anything. So a bigger number than TARP. No, I'm okay with spending the money. I actually personally think both of them are right.
Yeah, I got you.
But the point is that it depends on how you spin. So the truth is, Americans don't understand what $490 billion is. You know, there's an old funny saying, you know, a billion here and a billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money. They don't know what a teraflop is. They have no idea. So if the people that they respect, which is their elected officials, say Obama bad, then they go, oh, somebody I respect says Obama is bad, therefore he must be bad. They don't know what 400 billion is. And if the people that they respect say Trump bad, you know, go the other way, then they go, he must be bad. They don't know why. So the answer is, the people who respect you, if you say, I'm buying an Xbox because I like it better, then they're buying an Xbox. Now, unfortunately, there's nobody who respects me, so I should pick another celebrity. But if the people who follow PewDiePie or Ninja or some other celebrity, if those guys say PlayStation all the way, they're going to buy PlayStation. And the truth is, I think it's a lot like a Tesla versus, you know, a Porsche. It's like, if, you know, they're both $100,000 car, they both go really fast, and there are people who say, well, if the Tesla looks better to me, or I like, you know, the impact on the environment, and other people say, oh, German engineering, and, you know, everything is perfect, and I don't care if it's a tenth of a second slower to 60. I love the styling, or I love, you know, the power, whatever. It's like, you know, it's a very personal decision. Now, the fact is, if you get in your Tesla and I get in my Porsche and we drive to the grocery store, it takes us the same time to get there, you know, and we both got there. Same with your Xbox and your PlayStation. So what's going to really come down to, I think, for most consumers, is if there's first-party software that they absolutely must have. You know, if there's Hellblade 2 or 3 or whatever the next one is, or if there's Spider-Man 2, if Sony gets an exclusive, then, you know, sure. Then they're going to buy the PlayStation or The Last of Us 2 or whatever. They're going to buy the console that has that content. But if you're a FIFA player or a Call of Duty player or a Fortnite player, you're going to say, "Hey, hip hop, which one you buying? I want to play the one you play." And
Mm,
honestly, I think one of the big hooks has been Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. So if all your friends played on Xbox Live, that gave you a reason to buy an Xbox.
right.
I'm really curious to see if Fortnite started something. Call of Duty's doing it now too, where you can play multiplayer cross-platform. I kind of think that cat is out of the bag and everybody's got to do it. So if cross-platform play becomes the standard, for the industry, then it really doesn't matter which console you buy. Buy the one that you personally like better, or the one that has first-party software. So I don't think there's much
Mm.
Phil can do about it or Jim Ryan can do about it. It's going to come down to price, first-party software, and hip hop's recommendation.
Yeah. Yo, I love it, man. I love it, man. So, yo, that was another great answer, man. So, my next question, and this is very, very important, bro. So, I have a program, right, called Gaming and Guidance. Now, this program is designed to not just for the youth, but like because it's for everyone, but we really do target the youth. So, I visit schools every month and we have an esports battle, and then we have a panel discussion where we talk about bullying, self-love, building relationships, how to make money in gaming, all these types of things. I even have relationships with the NYPD and the New Jersey PD right now, where I actually got cops and kids playing together, everything, just trying to do my part, you know what I'm saying, to make things better, right? So one of the questions that popped up in my digital gaming and guidance, the first one that I did digitally that a couple of days ago, was there's a lot of summer youth jobs that's not going to happen. Like there's a lot of things that's just cut because of what's going on. So they was trying to figure out what can they do, even in the gaming space, to like make money during this time and everything. So I know you just with Logitech, we was literally talking about those things as well. And I wanted to ask you, in this time right now, even from a digital standpoint, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all represent, baby. Got my logic. So like even in this time right now, uh at Wedbush Securities and just things that you've seen and things that you got access to, like what would you say, or is there anything out there, you know what I'm saying, where like money can be generated digitally in the gaming space for those that's looking to be a part of that?
Yeah, I don't want to be too much of a downer here, but we've got 20% unemployment, and it's very much focused on segments of the economy that are dominated by unskilled labor.
Mm,
So,
okay.
it's not like lawyers and engineers are out of work.
Right.
Interestingly, I did see that all these hospitals having to cancel elective surgery, healthcare is suffering. Doctors who do breast augmentation or
Yeah.
facelifts, are suffering. Dentists are suffering. But the real impact is falling on retail, people who work, in retail, or people who work in hotels or
Yeah.
restaurants. If we can't go to a restaurant, they don't need very many waiters. The cooks are still there, but they don't need waiters. And so that's just not getting better until we have some type of a solution to this pandemic. Um, and it sounds good. Oh, let's make money online. But you know how many people make money from doing online shows. I mean, it's like saying, let's go be an NBA basketball player.
Yeah.
There's
No.
600 or whatever. What is there? There's 11 people, 400 guys who make a living playing NBA basketball. And same with football, 600 people, say 800 people, whatever. It's impossible. So, you are the exception that proves the rule, how hard it is. So sure, it would be great to say I'll become a YouTube personality or Twitch personality, but there are 1,000 people trying for every one that makes it. So that's not the right place to go. If you're looking to make money, I mean, I think the smartest thing any young person can do is get educated. And I know that education is online, but the more education you have, more choices you have. And,
Absolutely.
you know, there aren't going to be a lot of jobs in retail or hospitality, restaurants, cruise lines, airlines for a long time. I mean, it's probably going to be another year. And the guys I feel the sorriest for are not the kids with summer jobs. It's kids who are graduating from college right now. Who's hiring? It's really hard. There's no office.
Yes.
So like
Wow.
my firm, the stock market's still open. We're still busy, but we had to cancel our summer intern program because there's nobody in the office to supervise the interns. We're not doing it to save money, but how do you have an intern and you teach them how to do our job if you can't see them and show them what you're doing? You can't say stay at home and I'll explain it to you. That's impossible. So, multiply that times a million. That's the problem. It's going to be millions of people that have trouble. I am hopeful, and unfortunately, it might take a change of president for this to happen. But I am hopeful that we start investing in infrastructure, so we start rebuilding highways and schools and hospitals, and that would give a lot of people, and that would
Yeah.
be immediate. So although I think that it's important to protect people who have lost their jobs, I think most people who work want to work, and so
Yeah.
a lot of those people would be, hey, I can go paint the school, I can go,
Yeah.
I mean that would be great. As long as nobody's in the school, why not repaint it or replace the floors or or build a new hospital? I mean, we should be doing that,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of surprised that and this is just because the president doesn't get along with the Democrats, and it's because he's such a polarizing figure. But we should be doing that now, and then there would be plenty of jobs for people. And again, we're not going to get out of this until there's a vaccine, because you really have to feel like you're not going to get sick and die.
Yeah. That's
And
true too.
that's still probably a year away. You and I are going to be back in May of 2021,
2021.
and we might still be sitting in our houses, and that's a problem. A year, this is tough. So I don't have any real good advice because this is a problem that we've never seen before, and it's hard to solve.
Yeah, nah, absolutely, man. And one thing I always admire about you, Mike, is that like you just always kept it real. Like I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna tell you something, right? So before I was in the industry, I saw everything on the outside looking in, just like everybody else, right? And you formulate your thoughts on opinions not based on what you know, just based off what you see, based on what you hear. But when you start to know things for yourself, like truthfully, then you start to be like, oh shoot, like things is different. So now, like a lot of times when I talk to certain people or they say certain things, I'll be like, yo, check this out, right? There's a lot of people that you talk about, yet you don't even know them. Like, and until you know them or have a relationship with them and you build something credible, you're gonna understand both sides of the industry. So I said that to say this. There's a lot of times where I defend the consumer, and then there's a lot of times where I defend like the industry or people in the industry, like such as yourself or even Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, like tons of people. You know what I'm saying? So what I love about the way you not just deliver your answers, but the way you carry yourself is that from 2008 day one, first day meeting you, all the way to now, it's been the same. It just got better. So it just brings me that much more confidence in all the things that I was like saying to people like, yo, nah, you don't know. Like you talking from what you hear, but you don't know. And I'm living proof because I know what it's like on both sides. So you can't say I don't know because you see me around all the time. So I always stand up for what's right, man, and I appreciate you always being you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I
Well,
just have to
thank
give
you.
you your props on that, bro. So
Thank you.
now another question. Now this is the hard hitter. So we seen Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer be revealed, and obviously it seems like it's Xbox marketed like title and stuff like that. Now here's the situation, right? Even though it's an Xbox marketed title and stuff like that, it's still a cross gen title. Now I know you get the automatic upgrade, like when you purchase it, but obviously there's a lot more PS4 users than Xbox on One users in terms of install base. And Microsoft already made a statement that you're not gonna really see many exclusives from them until like their second year because they're trying to make sure that everything they make works on all systems. Do you think that's wise for them to go that route? And the only reason I'm saying that is because the install base for PlayStation 4 is so huge that they're gonna leverage PS4 in the PS5 battle, and that alone right there could change the tide out the gate. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, that's back to your teraflop thing. I think that the system architecture for the two new consoles is going to be similar enough that there will be no exclusives. And until the next gen installed base is big, you're not going to have anything that's next gen only, other than first party titles.
Gotcha.
So absolutely, the publishers have to think about, how many units can we sell, and Assassin's Creed, is not going to sell 10 or 12 million units if it's not on PS4. You just can't make, it's like
Yeah.
Titanfall being on one console.
Exactly.
Or Spider-Man on one console sold great, but still only sold 8 or 10 million units. Spider-Man would have sold 15 or more had it been on Xbox as well. So, Ubisoft is in the business of making money, and they, the only time they've ever really messed up on exclusives is that they made Zombie U, for the
Wii U.
Wii U, and that was terrible. It was a terrible game. It was on the Wii U only, and it just blew it.
Yeah.
And they've done it a couple of times where they supported Nintendo at gate, but the system architecture was so different from the Xbox and PlayStation that they had to. Here, no, there's no. I don't think any third-party publisher is going to make an exclusive ever again. I don't see it unless Microsoft pays them. Well, Microsoft says, "Here's $500 million. Make it exclusive." Sure, but short of that, no way.
So there's big talk about Xbox Game Pass, right? Now this has been the conversation in the community is like the reason why they're going to Game Pass is because like for example, if you look at Gears of War, and the way Microsoft used to do numbers, like back in the day, I guess 360 days, Gears of War sell 3-4 million copies, or Halo sell 10 million copies. They're gonna make an article about that, put that out there, NPD, blah 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 blah. Nowadays, you don't get that with Microsoft. Like it's like they don't tell you how much they sold, but they'll find a way to like make sure the numbers work in their favor whenever they do talk about numbers. Do you think Xbox Game Pass is like an actual, profitable business move for Xbox or the partners that they have on Game Pass? And the reason why I say that is because when Gears of War 5 came out day and date, if somebody, they all they needed was $1. Like if they didn't have the service, all they needed was $1, like to go play Gears of War 5, and that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is this a good business move? Like what's the idea here in your opinion with Game Pass? Can it be lucrative over a long period of time? How does this help the third party developers that put their games on it day and date? And how is it competitive against PlayStation that still managed to sell a lot when it comes to exclusives too? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, they haven't told us about how many people do trial memberships and then how many people sign up. I mean, they announced that 10 million people are subscribers. So I doubt that, they've had 20 million people sign up and 10 million people play for $1 and quit. I'm sure that people, they probably have a pretty high conversion rate. And I don't think that they care if you stay as a member for a year, and pay them $180, $15 a month. Yeah. Then they made their money on Gears of War. So, they're probably okay as long as people stay members 4 or 5 months. Yeah, you can finish a game in a week. I mean, most people, but, that multiplayer matters, it keeps you coming back. They've been putting good games on there, not new releases. Obviously, the whole first party schedule's on there. But, they had Grand Theft Auto on there for a while. I think Red Dead got on there for a bit.
Yeah, Red Dead is coming now, and they're going to switch that with Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and they're only on for a couple of months, and they're off. And so the answer to your question, do the publishers make money? I am certain that Microsoft says, hey, Take-Two, we collected $15 from Gerard, and he played 10 hours that month, and he played 1 hour GTA, so 1/10 of the $15 he gave you. Here's about 50. I'm sure they're doing that. So Take-Two is fine. I mean, Take-Two's happy. I mean, there's a way to do the calculation. It might not be the whole $15. It might be 10 of the 15 or something. Yeah. But they're paying for the number of hours to play. and Take-Two wouldn't do it if it wasn't a good deal. So, you're
Got you.
getting. We just got EA announcing they're putting Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on Stadia. It's the same thing, right?
Same
So,
thing.
so
Got you.
yeah, so I'm not worried about the publishers. The answer to whether Microsoft's making money, they're doing something super smart. They've got a whole bunch of different plans. They're all complicated. But what it really comes down to is you can pay $5 a month for Xbox Live, and pretty much everybody who has an Xbox and plays multiplayer does that. You could pay another $15 for Game Pass, but they have bundles, that where you save money if you do the bundle. Then there's a way to buy an Xbox, and the range there is something like $20 to $30 a month, and you get a
Yeah,
new
that's
Xbox.
yeah.
And then they bundle in their Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass. And I honestly don't remember the numbers because it's all complicated
Yeah.
plans. But there's some plan where you spend something like 30 or $40 and you get, an Xbox Series
X.
X,
Yep.
and not Series X, X, what's the thing called?
One X.
Xbox One X. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get an Xbox One X, which is the better one, and you get Game Pass and you get Xbox Live, and it's like $35 a month or something. It comes out to be like, oh, that's pretty cool. I get all these games and I get a new Xbox, and I have to put $300 down. I mean, that makes sense to me. So I think they'll do the same thing when they launch the Xbox Series X, the new one. I think they will have a $30, $40, $50 installment plan, probably 30. You commit for 2 years, so they're going to
Kind
get
of like a cell
whatever the
phone.
hell
Like
that's.
kind of like how
So
your
that,
cell
yeah,
phone operates.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly like a cell phone. So you're going to get $700 worth of value at the end of 2 years. They'll, if you quit, you have to give them back your Xbox so they can sell it to somebody else, and they're going to make all their money the way they want to make their money. So as long as consumers don't feel ripped off, I think this works. And I think that's where the 10 million subscribers came from. I think that there's
Mm.
a number, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million who bundled it with
Wow.
Xbox Live, another couple of million that have it as an installment plan, and then a few that are just standalone. But I
Wow.
think they make money. The question really is, are they going to get any compelling third-party content that's not 7 years old like GTA?
Got you.
And we'll see. That they got to pay up for that stuff. And the publishers are afraid of subscription because there's no way Take-Two would have put Red Dead on there the day that the game launched, but the Outer Worlds was on there, right
Right.
away. And that's because Microsoft bought the studio, So when they
Right.
bought the
Right.
studio, it's like, and I'm sure Take-Two got paid for that, but that had to cut into Outer Worlds sales because nobody who subscribed to Game Pass bought Outer Worlds. And, if it wasn't on there, they would have bought it.
Right. So to me, so what it sounds like to me is like they found a new way to create value in terms of time spent playing versus just outright buying the game. But the thing is, you can't exclude outright buying the game. That's why it takes a while for the third parties to jump on board with a Game Pass because it's different when you have first party because that's something that Microsoft owns.
That's right. And I think
Okay.
If I were Take-Two, who makes probably 500 million a year from Red Dead
Red Dead
Online
alone.
and GTA Online, I would put GTA and Red Dead on there all day long. If I was Activision, who makes a couple $100 million a year from Overwatch, I would put Overwatch on there and hope people play, and I hope people
Yeah.
spent money in game. So, there's an opportunity there. And again, even free games like Warzone, let it launch in Xbox Live, in Xbox Game Pass. Like, why not? So I think you should see a lot more paywall free to play like FIFA Ultimate Team. Why not put that on there? So eventually, I think the publishers are going to figure this out.
Got you. Got you. Now that makes a lot of sense, man. So I got a few more questions, Mike, and then I'll let you go. So my next question is this. I know Konami has been, had a negative impact in the gaming industry for quite a while, ever since they're falling out with Hideo Kojima, right? So but now, there's rumors and there's talks about Konami bringing back Silent Hill or doing these things with Castlevania, but there was talks that potentially either Microsoft or Sony could be looking to get those IPs ex- exclusively, like for their respective console. And considering the relationship that Sony and Kojima has and stuff like that, because even I reported on this because I heard strong details that Kojima was going to be the Kojima Productions was eventually going to be a part of SIE, as a whole family. So my question to you is, do you think, or how likely, like, is it that Microsoft or Sony would take those IPs for Konami, considering it seems like Konami themselves and the way their relationship is with the overall industry in the community, it doesn't seem like they're gonna have any success just by holding on to these IPs and not doing anything with them. But they can make a lot of money if they did sell them or whatever. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think Microsoft could get Konami's games, or do you think Sony could get Konami's games?
I don't know the answer, but the trend has been that Japanese publishers tend to work better with Sony. And partly, I think that's because Japanese games are very, very popular in Japan. So the JRPGs work really, really well in Japan. So Castlevania probably sells half of its units in Japan. So it makes sense to me that Microsoft wouldn't find that interesting, and Sony would. Silent Hill is a good brand. It's had tremendous success. I don't remember the last good one though. It's probably been 10 years or more. No, I mean it has been, right? I think
Yeah,
they
it's been a
made
while.
one this. They might have made one this decade, but the last successful one was probably PS2
Yeah, like
or
a
maybe
yeah,
PS3.
yeah, like a while
Yeah,
ago.
oh
Yeah.
06 or something. Yeah. So, so again, I think Sony would find that far more interesting. Now the question is, could Microsoft buy the Metal Gear Solid franchise? And I bet they can,
Mm,
because that's owned by Konami.
yeah.
That's not owned by
That's
Kojima
not. Yeah.
Productions. So I think Microsoft
Mm.
would be interested in that, just like they were interested in Gears of War. And I think that would be, take somebody like they did Rod Ferguson to run the Gears of War franchise. It'll be somebody else because Rod's at Blizzard now.
Yeah.
But take somebody that's really, really good to run the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and I could see them doing something. But I honestly don't. I don't talk to the Konami guys very often at all.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So now my next question, this is more so around esports as a whole. You know what I'm saying? We seeing everything. All the growth, everything is happening. Even during this pandemic, gaming was already number one in entertainment, but now it's just like we're to a whole like another level like right now with esports and stuff. My main question for you right now, right? Esports growth is like you starting to actually see it like get bigger than MLB. Like, what I'm saying? Get the attention of like NBA. Like, it's happening. In like the next 3 to 5 years, considering the new systems that's coming out, all the investments that's happening in esports and things of that nature, how lucrative do you think like esports will be or become because of all the people getting involved in it and all the people investing in it? Like, what does esport need to maintain this growth in your opinion?
So esports makes money from obviously live events. They make money from advertising to the people watching the events digitally online, and they obviously make money if the sporting event itself gets people to play the game, the underlying game.
Right.
So think about who makes money off of the sport of soccer, right? Well, FIFA, the organization that puts it on, and that's like Activision with Overwatch or Riot with League of Legends. The organization makes some money. And then obviously the players all get paid. So that's like the esports athletes and the soccer athletes. But the guys who make the most money off of soccer, Nike, because they
Oh
sell
yeah.
shoes. And it's not the shoes they sell to the FIFA players, it's the shoes they sell to everybody who likes FIFA. And so you see Mo Salah, on Liverpool Football Club wearing Nikes, and you're like, I got to have those cool shoes.
Yep.
And that's like you and me, Air Jordans when we were younger, and
Yep.
LeBron now, and so we're going to buy whatever. Back then I'm going to wear what Mike wears because Michael Jordan
It's
in
Michael
my
Jordan.
generation was, yeah, he was the best basketball player of all time, and then it became Kobe, then it became LeBron, and so we like to wear what those guys wear. So that's the merchandising opportunity is the biggest, and
Mm,
esports athletes aren't that popular yet, but I do think it's guys like Logitech. Logitech, if they could say that Bugga playing Fortnite was using a Logitech G series mouse, and if you want to play Fortnite as good as he does, Bugga, then
yeah.
you got to play with his mouse. That helps. So what do we really need? We don't yet have the killer app. There isn't
Mm,
a game yet that everybody understands and wants to watch. And when I say that, again, the analogy is sports. We all understand soccer. You may not be great at it, but we all understand
understand it.
that both guys want to kick that ball into the net on the other side. So we know exactly what these people are doing. We know when the ball goes in the net, they score a goal and they get 1 point. We understand that. And so it's easy to watch. You know what people are doing, right? Red team, green team, you can tell. Who understands Overwatch? And the answer is
Yeah.
only Overwatch players,
Yeah.
right? Have you ever tried to watch Dota? And I played Dota. I still don't understand it when I'm watching it. It's
Yeah, League of Legends
so
as well.
fast.
Yeah,
Right,
I played those games before, but I don't play them extensively to know
right.
exactly everything that's going on. Got you.
So the sports analogy is who watches golf? You don't watch golf unless you golf,
Yeah,
right?
facts.
Because when there's a guy on the fairway and they say, "Oh, it's a 60-yard approach shot," and he's pulling out his sand wedge, and you're like, "What the hell is a sand wedge? And why is he
Yeah.
doing that?" And you just don't get it. So I would say esports right now, each game is like women's NBA, track
Yeah.
and field, golf. They're interesting, and some are like track and field. Like you understand the fast guys are faster than the slow guys. Like you can watch it and you kind of get it,
Yeah.
but not that many people really care. Like you certainly don't want to watch a 3,000-meter race because you don't get it and you don't care. And we need an esport that is like NFL football, where most of us didn't play football, and if we did, we sucked at it,
Right.
but we all love watching it because it's a cultural thing. And I feel that way about NBA basketball. Most of us didn't play basketball. Maybe 20% of guys did, but we all love watching it because you appreciate how great those athletes are. So when there's a sport I'm sorry, an esport that you really get it because you just watch it and it's intuitive and you appreciate how great the athletes are, then I think you're going to have that big hit. We don't have that game yet. I mean, the closest to easy to understand is Counter-Strike Go. That's the closest
Oh
I can
yeah.
think of where I can watch PUBG. Like PUBG makes sense to me because I know it's like last man standing and
Yeah.
I get it. But we don't have that game yet. Somebody's got to build a game from the ground up that's made for the viewer, and we don't have that game yet.
Got you. Yo, that was extremely well thought out, man. So like I got two more questions left for you, bro. The next question is this. EA Sports made a statement. It was very interesting. So many of the fans has been waiting to see, games like NBA Street come back, Fight Night come back, Def Jam Vendetta come back, and they made a statement about bringing old games back and remasters and remakes, and like they made a lot of statements like that, right? And then obviously NBA Live is, not there. You know what I'm saying? 2K dominated that. Madden, even though that's still here, it seems like the NFL 2K is eventually going to come back. Even though 2K is making I guess like an arcade style football game, it seems all signs is pointing towards the return of NFL 2K. And we saw what happened with NFL 2K and Madden, way back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because when they went 1999, NFL 2K killed like Madden, and it was a better game for a cheaper price. So what I want to ask you is, do you think EA would actually bring back, the fight nights and the NBA streets to further grow their business in today's age? And do you believe that NFL 2K, the actual simulation, NFL 2K will actually come back as well, considering the 2K is allowed to, make a football game now?
I don't think either's going to happen.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think I think the market for street is small, 3 million units. I mean, of all those games, you didn't mention it. My favorite was NBA Jam.
Oh
That
yeah,
was a fun
yeah.
game.
I love that game.
Which again, any of them could make it, and frankly, Take Two would probably try that because they're so good. But no, I don't think so, and I don't think that you're right about the NFL license. Um, yes, I know the NFL license expires probably next year for EA's
Yeah.
exclusive, but it's not like the NFL has made the decision that they'd rather have 2K make that game. And
Mm.
the Madden NFL games have been good enough. I mean, they're in the 80s, so it's not like Madden's been getting 60s and 50s the way NBA Live did.
Right.
So the games are good. The trick is that EA has a deal not only with the NFL, but with the NFL Players Association. And so the 2K announcement didn't mention the Players Association. And
Mm.
the truth is that there's only a certain number of MFL games that are going to sell, whatever that number is, 10 million. And I don't think the NFL and the players care if all 10 million are sold by EA, 5 million each by EA and 2K. They're still going to get the same pay. And
Yeah.
so EA is going to step up and offer them a lot of money, and Take Two might offer, but I don't think that it will get split down the middle. I don't think there's going to be a non-exclusive. I think that one or the other is going to have the rights, and right now the brand is EA. I also think you're wrong that 2K is automatically going to make a great game. 2K took the WWE license away from THQ in bankruptcy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and after a couple of years, that was 2013, I think. And
Yeah.
after a couple of years, they decided that the Yuke's studio in Japan wasn't worth paying for, so they brought the development of WWE in house, and they messed it up royally.
Messed it
And
up. Yeah,
so
man.
bad that it's not coming out this year.
Right.
And so, let's not give them credit because I don't honestly track all the individuals, but they last made an NFL game in 2005.
Yeah.
So are those people still around? Are they still working for 2K? I don't think so. So the
Wow. Yeah, that is
idea that,
interesting.
yeah, they made a really good game, NFL 2K5, that's what it was,
Yeah.
one.
ESP. Yeah.
Um, we'll just bring that team back 16 years later for 2021 and they'll be great. I think that's a stretch. I mean,
Got
I'm
you.
sure half of them are, retired. The other half are working somewhere else, doing other games. I don't think it's an automatic that they're going to be able to do it. And look how good FIFA is and how good Madden is and how bad NBA Live is. The idea
Right.
that you can make one sports simulation game, therefore they're all good, that doesn't work. They're all different, and the game mechanic is different, and the way the players move is different. And so 2K is phenomenal at basketball. And in fairness, EA is phenomenal at soccer. They really
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hockey. Their hockey game is
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't get
true.
how their hockey game is so good and their basketball game sucks so bad.
Yeah.
But it's because it's just because it's hard to make games. It's really hard. So I just disagree with your premise, but I'll come back in a year and you can tell me I was wrong because you'll hold up the NFL 2K game.
Oh man, yo, I'm looking forward to all of this. And for the final question, man, and this is mainly about you. Um, we done seen you on bonus round. You got pack the factor, and like there's so much stuff that you've done personally. Throughout your career, so many companies that you advised and helped make money. Like did so many things. Out of all the things that you've done and accomplished, like for you, they got your name stamped on it. What's something that you always wanted to do, in this space that you feel like you never got a chance to like do or get into or accomplish? Something that you always wanted to do. And what I mean by this is if you look at Peter Moore, you know what I'm saying? Peter Moore, Xbox, Dreamcast, do all this other stuff. But once he got that call to go to work with the teams in soccer and stuff like that, that was his dream. Like that was his calling. Like, you know what I mean? And he went to go do that. So what's that for you? Like, like what does Michael Pachter want to do that you probably still haven't got a chance to do that you wanted to accomplish?
My life's not over yet, fortunately, so maybe I'll get a chance. I actually personally would love to be a director, on the board of directors of a public company, because
Mm.
I think a lot of public companies are run very poorly, and I think that the managements tend to look, they call it insular, they tend to look inward and look at what they've always done and keep doing it.
Mm.
And I think that they could use some help from people who have seen a lot of other examples and can bring that to bear. So a good example, GameStop, which has been a complete mess, and
Tell me about it, bro.
essentially got rid of their entire management team and brought in all new people, added Reggie to their board. And Reggie has been around the block. Reggie knows the games industry. I think he's a really good addition to a board. And I'm not offended that they didn't call me, but that makes me envious. Like, no, I think Reggie's a great hire, but I would love Activision to call me up and say, "Hey, when you're ready to leave your job, we'd like you to be on our board of directors." I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yo,
Now,
so who I gotta
Bobby
talk to,
Kotick,
Mike? Who I
well,
gotta talk to, Mike?
Bobby Kotick probably doesn't think he can learn anything from me, but I think he could. So yeah, but I would love to do that. And again, my life's not over. Maybe when I'm retired, somebody will wonder what I have to say about their companies. But I would love that would make me fulfilled.
All right, cool. So here's what I would say, man. Just like how people you've been in the industry way longer than me and everything, man. But I know people I got great relationships as well, thank God. Here's what I want to tell you, man. You're more than well deserving of it. And I know you mentioned Activision, but I'm telling you, that can happen. I believe it will happen. And if little old me can have any type of influence in things happening, bro, 100,000%, you got my vote easily. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But you'd be
All right.
surprised at how things work. So we'll talk about that stuff off cam. You know what I'm saying? But
All right.
real
Thank
talk,
you.
yo, Mike, I love you, man. This has been great, man.
Love you more.
This is the, I'll let you have that one. But
Right.
when we come out of this and I get the chance to see you in person, I win. I win on that.
Right.
I win on that. So
All
look,
right,
man,
perfect.
God bless you, man. I'm gonna let you go.
God bless you. Thank you, George.
And at the end of the day, I gotta ask you this question: PlayStation or Xbox? This generation, if you could choose one, if you only choose one, what you choosing? PlayStation or Xbox?
I'm much more of an Xbox exclusive guy, so I
Ooh,
vastly, yeah, I like their first party lineup, and it's not like I don't like Uncharted and Last of Us. I mean, those games are good. I just honestly never finished an Uncharted game. Like, I play them all, but they don't make me. I don't get hooked. So Xbox, I like their games. I mean, especially stuff like Gears Tactics. Like, that's a freaking great game. I love stuff like that.
Wow. So right now, at this point in the video,
Psychonauts, baby.
every Sony PlayStation fan is gonna try to find you when E3 comes back, and they're gonna try to get you. But don't worry about it.
But I'm
It's
gonna,
all
but
good.
I'm gonna have both. I'm buying both. I'm gonna
Oh
play
yeah, me
both.
too, of course.
You just asked me if I could only have one.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I'd rather play the Xbox first party lineup. I like all the studios. Look, I honestly think the Insomniac guys are like my favorite guys in all of video games.
Mm.
And so anything they do, I love. But again, I really like I like Halo. I like that first party lineup a lot.
I can't wait to see what else they got with all the studios that they acquired. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
the new stuff that they make. I'm looking forward to all of it, man. So, Mike, once again, is there anything you want to say, anything you want to plug in, or anything like that before we go?
Nah, I'm proud of you, my friend. I'm glad that you made such a great thing of your career. So
Thank you
happy to
so
know
much,
you.
man. And there's more to come. Stay tuned. All right, one love and
I
God
will.
bless, man. It's the one and only hip hop gamer, Def Jam Records, NBA 2K League, Logitech G on your Hot 97 every day. That's my word. Michael Pachter in the building. We out of here. Peace.